Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 22 of the Craft Workshop podcast. If you're new, I'll give you a really quick introduction about the channel and who I am. So yes, my name is Dawn, it's the Dawn's Days channel, and the channel is mainly a weekly vlog about my life living in the Netherlands, and once or twice in a month a crafty podcast, which is what today's episode is all about. When I say crafty podcast, I'm in the workshop, sorry. My crafts are quite varied, but predominantly I'm a crocheter, I'm a knitter, I'm also a yarn dyer, I spin, I make jewellery, I sew, hand sew and machine sew, I paint furniture, yeah, a lot of things. Gosh, I can't even, I make oils. I don't make essential oils, but I blend oils to use in beauty products, like my own creams and stuff. I don't sell any of this stuff. I'm just gonna move my chair in, sorry. So yes, I'm in my workshop, which is based in my local art centre. There's 55 units here with artists of every kind of genre you can imagine. I'm lucky to have my own little workshop here. If you're interested, I try to make playlists. So if you don't want to watch the vlogs, which I realise not everybody wants to, there is a playlist, so you can just run the playlist. So it's only the vlogs will pop up, and then there's a playlist for podcasts, and then I've got a couple of tutorials on there, and then other things like, you know, bonus footage that I've not really know where to place it. So that's about me and the channel. If you want to follow me on other social media platforms, on Instagram I'm at Dawn's Days. Obviously this is the YouTube channel. I host a really very small but very friendly like a general crafty Facebook group called Crafty World 1. And my email is also listed below. So everything I talk about in the podcast, I always list them below. I don't put timestamps in, but yeah, you know, you can fast forward and reverse if you feel like it. Reverse, rewind, reverse. Well, anyway, I think it's customary. Some podcasters tell you what they're drinking. So today I'm having a Pucker Womankind tea, which is, I need my specs for this, is a swirling joy of cranberry rose and exotic vanilla, and that's in my Dawn's Days mug. I'm not a big tea drinker, but I don't mind some of these sort of fruity kind of herbally blends now and again. I've not tasted this one before, so we'll see as we go. It's a bit hot at the moment. I've got a bit of a croaky voice, so that's why I've made a tea today. What I will do, because I realise not everybody watches the podcast, the vlog, sorry, but what I will do, if you miss the vlogs, just so you can get to know me really, because I always think it's nice not just to look at what I've been making, but also know a little bit about me and my family. I'll give you a little recap of what went on in the last, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks since the last podcast. So Lawrence, who's my partner, he's from South Africa, and Josh is my eldest son, and William's my youngest son. Obviously there's school / college holiday at the moment in the Netherlands, and Lawrence and I, we took 3 weeks off, but we staggered them. So I think in the last podcast I explained that we'd been to one of the Dutch islands for a mini break, which was Texel, and then we returned back to work. We're still home working, but we returned back to work, and then we had another 2 weeks off after that. So what we've done in the last 2 weeks is, well, it rained a lot. Probably 50% of the time we were off work, it rained, and not just showers, it was like torrential rain. So yeah, we were hoping to maybe do another little mini break or something, but you know, that wasn't going to happen. We do have a very small little motorboat, because obviously living in Holland, we're surrounded by canals. So we haven't really spent any time on the boat, I don't think. But in the last 2 weekly vlogs, I'm going to take a little slurp. It's not bad. Where did we go? I made a couple of, so I have mentioned that Joshua spent, I think, 5 to 6 weeks at his family's motel in Montenegro. And at the beginning, the very beginning of our 2 weeks off, I was so excited he was coming home. And then the day before he flew, all his travel documents disappeared. So we spent the first 2 days of our staycation, you know, on the internet, on the phone, to airlines, embassies. Now, bear in mind, my kids have got British passports. Even though they're born in the Netherlands, they have British passports from me. And because of Brexit, we have what's called a residency permit. So we have a permanent residency here. But of course, because travelling on a British passport, you need to show that you're able to come into the country because, yeah, the UK is not part of the EU anymore. So his passport was missing, his residency permit was missing, his PCR test, which he needed to fly, was missing. And his travel documents, well, we had everything, it was all digital. And then he had some money. Anyway, miraculously, a couple of hours before his flight was due, everything turned up minus the money. So we think somebody stole it, and enough sort of pressure was put on surrounding people of the motel, and it miraculously, everything appeared. And luckily, his flight was still open and he could make it home. Anyway, as you can imagine, that was a horrible first 2 days of our staycation. On top of that, our fridge freezer broke. So not only was it stressful, it was very expensive. So anyway, it didn't dampen our spirits. And then we've done, over the last 2 weeks, we've managed to get in quite a few nice day trips. So if you're interested in seeing the Netherlands, but not the usual run-of-the-mill, you know, where everybody goes, like Amsterdam or Rotterdam or The Hague, then, you know, check out them, because I like to sort of go a little bit more off the beaten track, you know, where you don't tend to hear a lot of British accents when you're walking around these places. So I've made a note to get a little recap. We visited a place called Monnikendam. We visited a place called Markham, another place called Maidenblick. Everything seems to begin with M's. There was a theme there. Then we had a lovely day out in Amsterdam, whereby I visited the Stephen and Penelope shop. So if I'll talk about that in the podcast today. And then we had another trip to Archeon, which is like an open air living museum kind of thing. So they're in the last, I made a note, they're in episodes 173 and 4 of the weekly vlog, if you want to have a look. Had such a nice time. Today's the last day of our staycation. Yesterday went to a theme park, which will be next week's weekly vlog, hence my croaky voice. And yeah, today I think it's going to be still good weather, so maybe we'll get out on the boat. I don't know, we'll have to have a chat with Lawrence, see what he feels like. Okay, so that's all I've been up to. I'll stop waffling now. I waffle a lot in the vlog, so I like to waffle. So today I don't typically follow the usual format of whips and finish objects. I just sort of talk about a craft. So I'm going to start, today I've got some crochet, knitting, and I've got some incoming to talk about. Obviously I'll do a little show and tell of what I bought at the Stephen and Penelope shop, and then what I will do, if you stick around right to the very end or fast forward, it's your choice, I took some footage of the shop. I asked permission, and there was a lovely French lady was helping me, and I ended up staying there way longer than I thought I would. It's not close-ups of the yarns because there's a lot of yarn in that shop, but at least if you're a fan of Stephen West in particular and you'd like to see his shop, it gives you a good impression. I filmed of walking around the shop so you can have a look and pause and, you know, look at all the nice things. So I did include a very small shot in last week's weekly vlog, but I will put all the footage that I took at the end of this podcast. So let's begin. Sorry, I paused there. I just had a massive coughing fit. Oh, you don't even want to know how much I screamed yesterday. It was awful, but good. I think in the last podcast, or the one before, I showed some yarn that I'd bought from one of the really, really cheap sort of budget kind of stores in the Netherlands called Zeemans. And I think it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. and I'd bought it for a specific project, which was a crochet blanket called The Last Rose of Summer. And I was really excited to start it. And I would say I'm my level of crochet is pretty much, I would say I'm expert level. I can crochet really fast, like super fast, and there's not, there's nothing that wouldn't faze me. I do free motion crochet, so yeah, I'm a pretty advanced crocheter. And so I hate to do this, but I will say it because I feel I shown the pattern on the podcast and told you all that I was going to make this blanket, and subsequently it's a free pattern, and the lady who's written it seems very, very nice, but I'm going to be very honest, the pattern is not well written at all. It's very confusing. She has put a YouTube tutorial up, which was no better. She's not a native English speaker, so maybe that didn't help. I could figure it out what she meant. If you're a beginner, you would have no clue. Like, I know in the YouTube tutorial, she kept saying slip stitch. If you don't crochet, it's a very important stitch that you have to know. The same with knitting. You need to know what a knit and a purl is. And in crochet, you need to know, and also in particular, US and UK terms are different. It's the same stitch, but they're called something different. And so, for example, where there was a lot of slip stitch in the motif, the crochet motif, and she would say skip stitch. Now, you do skip a lot of stitches in crochet, so I just, I had a bash, so I thought, well, I'll bring it with you while it was still sort of in a round shape. It's wrong. There's loads of mistakes in there because I winged it. I did it's a technical term in crochet called fudge it. I fudged it, and then to make it into a square, it just got really, I gave up. The telling thing about the project is I use Ravelry a lot, especially for free patterns. I find it a great resource. I know not everybody is a fan of Ravelry. I always think it's a sign that how long a pattern has been up on Ravelry for versus how many projects of what other people have done of that pattern. And I don't think, aside from the designer, there's no projects posted up there, and it's not a new pattern. So I think a lot of people have just had the same opinion as me. It's such a shame. Anyway, I'm going to show you because it is so pretty. So I'll keep it as, I don't know, a little plant pot holder. But as you can see, this was like the last rose of summer, and I chose like these vintage, almost sort of pastel shades. And this is the yarn. It's like a single ply, but because it's acrylic, it's like super strong. You can't just break this, but it's got that nice sort of halo to it. So anyway, I thought, well, I've given it my best shot. The reason I wanted a granny square project is I like a mindless kind of knit project on the go. I'm talking several, but anyway. And then I also like a mindless crochet project on the go. And some of you will probably know I'm making the picnic on the beach crochet. It was a cowl by Eleanor from Coastal Crochet. That's because it's a cowl, which is a crochet along. It's a weekly crochet. It finished. I'm taking my time with it. That's more complex because each week there's different techniques to follow. So anyway, I figured if you crochet, granny squares are the best mindless project you can do. So I thought, you know what, I've got a big bag of the yarn. I'm just going to do a granny square for myself, and I've made a stack of these. I'm almost out of the green, and it's discontinued now, that shade. So I thought, well, I'll bring a granny square along so you can see. So I've got two. So I'm gonna stitch them together, make either however many. I'm gonna keep going till the green runs out. However many I'm left with, it will either be a square or a rectangle. And then what I'm gonna do is just work around all the squares stitch together. I won't single crochet them, I'll whip stitch them, which is a lot of work, but anyway. And then I'll single crochet around them all, and I've still got pink and the cream and the blue, and I'll probably finish it off with a nice picot or something. I have really, really enjoyed that. I've not done a granny square for ages, and I think I could whip up 5 of these in a night, no problem. And because it's almost like, you know, it's a double knit, you know, it works up really, really quickly. If you do crochet and you're interested, what I do with mine is, let me show you, this is a good one. I like to do magic circle on mine. I know they're difficult, but if you master them, they're amazing. Especially if you want to do amigurumi, you need magic circle. I crochet all on the right side, except I like to start the granny off where I turn. So I do the first round, I turn the work, I do the next round, and then I stay. So this in effect becomes the wrong side. And then I like it because it always gives you this nice little indentation. If you did the reverse granny, so you go from wrong to right side, it would be sort of more, there'd be more sort of depth or texture into it. But as you can see, it only sort of dips in here. So yeah, when I finished it, I'll hopefully I'll bring it to the workshop. It'll be quite heavy, but yeah, I'm so disappointed by that. The other thing I'm going to do randomly, I'm going to crochet some roses and just randomly with leaves and just randomly place them you know, around the blanket. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but anyway, I just love, it's got that real sort of old vintage feel about it. The other thing is, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but I think it must have been at the beginning of the year. Yes, it was probably about January, February. I started with a frozen shoulder, like really painful. It was so bad at one point I couldn't even move my neck. I can move my neck. It's still a bit painful, but at least, you know, I can move. So I only can work on you know, like knitting and crochet in small sort of bursts. I can't sit for hours and hours doing it because it aggravates all my shoulder and my neck. Sort of, I can feel it tensing up. One of the worst things for me is amigurumi, and especially cotton. That really triggers it off. So I mentioned this little fella in the last podcast. So I'm making the Gustav Balancing Elephant, I'm looking at my notes, which is by Carla Mitrani. Again, a free crochet pattern. I'm doing mine in Scheepjes stonewash, this blue shade. I'll put I forgot to bring the ball band again. I did find it. This is how far I've got with him. Not long to go, almost done with him really. If my shoulder wasn't so bad, this would be a really, really quick knit, but crochet, sorry. But yeah, it's single crochet. I'm doing it in a 3mm hook, so it's like quite small work. And also, sorry, for amigurumi, I'm lucky that I can vary my tension. So on this one, you can see. This is quite loose tension, and on this one you can see that's a very, very tight tension, and I like to do really, really tight tension with amigurumi because so you don't see as much of the stuffing coming through. Anyway, just to explain, it's a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away. You crochet, you can see his little feet, you crochet the 4 little legs separately. So this is not a beginner project by any means. You crochet them separately, and then you have to join them in the center. Mine's not the neatest. He's got a weird sort of bump there, but when he's stuffed, that'll flatten out. You crochet here to join the 4, and then you rejoin them again. You work on the outside. His trunk is also crocheted separately, and then you have to join him, and then you have to make ears separately. So I would, if you have done amigurumi before, and you've pieced together components, you can easily do this. If you're new, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't tackle this yet. If you really fancy giving amigurumi a go, I would say go with practice balls. That's probably your best bet. Make yourself like if you've got like a broken plastic Christmas bauble, if you learn to crochet around that, and you get a nice Christmas decoration, or all year round decoration. You can make a nice, you know, for spring you could make like nice pale lemons and greens and blues, pastel colours, and put them all in a bowl. And you know, I think they're a great thing to do for broken baubles. So that's all the crochet I've been working on. I'm going to take another slurp before I start mentally splurting, coughing and everything at you. Actually, this is quite nice. Considering I'm not a fan of teas, it is quite nice. I recommend that one. Right, we've got knitting. In the last podcast, I mentioned two second socks that I was knitting, and I forgot to bring the finished socks to show you. And I like to see how, these are both pattern socks. I like to see how they look, you know, when they're crocheted up. So I can't remember the colourway that I chose for this, but this is, and they've not been blocked. This is the Regia Pairperfect socks. So I'm going to show you what's the best way. Maybe this way. No, I know what's the best way. We'll show you. They look better toe onwards. Yeah, that's good. Just bear with me. You can hear there's a lot of planes today. It's yeah, holiday season. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so bear in mind they're not blocked, but you can see, I'll show you, they're almost a perfect pair of socks. So you can see it automatically, the yarn comes with a contrasting cuff, heel and toe. And I watched the Arnie and Carlos YouTube tutorial on this, and you have to start cuff down and with magic loop, and you can't do two at a time. So if you fancy having a go at these, there's different shades you can get. I really enjoyed them, and yeah, you know, if you're a bit sort of OCD about patterns, I went wrong on this one. I don't know what I did. They're only for me, it's fine. Okay, would I do them again? No. I'm going to tell you why. I'm absolutely thrilled with the pattern. That's it from the side. The yarn is beautiful to work with. However, you'll know now, I'm going to move on to another sock. Because you have to just let the yarn play out, you know, in the pattern it's supposed to. This cuff and this leg is double the size what I normally do. And I just felt it went on forever. I'm not a fan of shorties, because when I wear boots, when I wear socks, I'm usually wearing boots. So I like them to at least be sort of, you know, at least a bit up my calf. And so I know if I'm only made shorties, they'd run up really quick. This one went on forever. And I'll show you what I mean now, because I also shown you this is also Regia. This is from the Tutti Frutti line. Obviously the colours give it away, it's in watermelon. So I've not made much progress on the second sock, but I didn't show you the sock that I'd finished. So that's the first sock. This is cotton. It's beautiful, but you see how it, look, the pattern. Oops, you get a good look at that. It really looks like a watermelon. So I'll compare them so you can see what I'm talking about, why it went on forever. So that's the normal size cuff that I do, and you see it's double the size. And then if I just start from the cuff to the heel, yeah, my normal heel starts here and that one started way down there. So I felt it was the equivalent of knitting 3 socks really. And even though I'm a demon crocheter, I'm not the fastest of knitters. So that's as far as I've got. And this is mainly car knitting with our day trips. I'm doing these on the 2.5 Knit Pro Zing circulars. I always do my socks on that. So I've not got much further to go. I think I'm sort of halfway Oh, probably roll it out. Yeah, probably what, another 10 rows, and then I can start on the heel flap. So it shouldn't be long with them. I've got a pattern lined up already of what I'm going to knit next. Okay, another thing, I think I'm showing these to you every month. I am following its account by Garlane, who is the kitchen sink shop on Instagram and Ravelry, I think everywhere else. So she's running an Instagram hashtag year of dishcloths, and every month, on the first of every month, if you've subscribed, so you'll in your inbox, you'll get that month's knitting pattern for a dishcloth. And I have really enjoyed. I've knitted every single one except for May. I know I keep going on about this one. I don't like May. Hopefully I'll go back to May, but we'll see. This month is, I think it's Honeycomb, and I have lots of these little cheap. I got these from it's like a budget store in the Netherlands. Sorry, I forgot what country was in there. Called The Action, and they sell these in the hobby section. They sell like a pack of these like little cotton balls. I think they're like 20 grams, I think, or 10 grams maybe. And I've got loads of them lying around. They're not the best quality, but I thought, well, for a dishcloth, I don't mind using them up. Let's try and get this a bit on the needle so you can see. So I've decided to do mine in, so I've got ends because I did mine in 3 colours. Let's see if you can see. So you can see the honeycombs. I really like that, and it's a nice pattern to work with. I'm actually pleased with the colours I've chosen as well. So yeah, that's August year of dishcloth. If you want to sign up, I don't think it's too late for that. Let's take a slurp. I'm just going to pause, otherwise I think I've mentioned this before, if I film more than half-hour segments, the audio goes strange in my editor. Bear with me. Okay, I have 2 finished objects actually, don't I? I've got these, this is a finished object. I have another one. I've shown you this in the last podcast. I've shown you all the mistakes I'd made, but as I said, I persevered, and do you know what? Thank you to everyone who commented, because most of you said you'd have just carried on anyway and you can't tell when it's done, and I agree with you. However, I was on the home stretch and I did make another big boo-boo and I left it in. And well, I'll show, it's washed and blocked. So here is, I don't know if I'm going to get it all on camera. Here is my Homely Bee shawl, which is by Fibre Tales. It's a paid pattern. This was gifted to me by my lovely friend Karen, who's Stitches and Jacks, and actually Karen and I have been knitting along together. So I'm sure in a future podcast, Karen will show you what she knitted hers in. It's beautiful, and no mistakes in Karen's, or none that she told me. So these are what the bees look like, if you can see them, and it's got this picot edge and like this zigzag effect, and then it's got this sort of little divider running up the middle, and that. So here's where I went wrong. I wasn't paying attention. I ended up with more stitches on one side than the other, and you do your decrease in the center, which is what this that's a decrease. It's a CDD, and so at the end I had to just sort of start doubling up on my decreases, which was fine. But however, so it's wonky, you see, it doesn't run completely central. I don't care, it's fine. The obvious mistake is, though, I have got this random line of garter stitch that shouldn't be there, and the reason I have that is I'm actually, so as I said, Karen gifted me the pattern. We're knitting it together, and we're both entering it into Ruth and Fernanda's Malcal I don't know, Cal with a K, Cal with a C. Well, it's a shawl along that they're hosting together on Instagram. I think on Ravelry as well, maybe. Fernanda hosts Little Monkeys and Me podcast, and Ruth is Ruth Loves to Knit, and both of them are friends of mine. I'm very lucky. I do know some people in the podcast community, so which I'm really thrilled about. So those ladies are hosting this shawl along, and it's called Across the Pond, because if you're not familiar, Fernanda's in the US and Ruth is from Northern Ireland, but she lives in Devon in the south of England. They're hosting it together, so that's why I've got it in time. I think it runs until maybe the end of the month or sometime in September. So this is my entry. However, I was watching Fernanda's podcast and got completely engrossed in what she was talking about, and that's why I've got this random garter stitch in the middle of at the end of the shawl. And do you know what? I've left it in. I told Fernanda what I'd done and she laughed. And it's a little memory. So yeah, I've blocked it. I washed it in Eucalan, which I picked up in the Stephen and Penelope shop. Just a small sort of sample bottle. So I would, I'm not sure. Let me lower you a bit. I would either, now before it was blocked, it was really short. So this has come down to a nice length now. So I would either wear mine like this, which is, if you can see me, it's very nice. I like that the picot sort of lies like this and you don't see my dodgy mistakes. Or I think it's also really nice, maybe in the autumn, when you just want to, I like to wear like denim jackets, or you know, like little leather jackets, smaller, like or thick cardigans. You know, in the autumn when it's just about turning, when it can be sunny, but it can be a bit nippy. So it'd be great to wear this. Let me just sorry. If you watch Ellie, who's Craft House Magic, she does twirling great. I don't twirl very well. But here's, move my hair so you can see. That's how it looks from the back. And yeah, I mean, this runs just past just on my hip. So absolutely thrilled with this. I'll put my chair back. If you fancy having a go, even if you're fairly new at knitting, I would say it's a bit challenging, but you could do this. So yeah, there we go. I've knitted mine in Drops Karisma in shade 56. If it's not showing up well on the camera, because I know on my Instagram it looks like a dark purple, this is really like a chocolate brown, but a cooler shade of brown. It's definitely not a warm reddish brown. I would say it's more like got blue tones in it, which actually, thinking about it, that might be why it's showing up as purple on my Instagram. Okay, so that's all the knitting I've got to share with you. What have we got next? Let me see. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you, because as I just said, it's soon going to be turning into autumn here. I really like this tea. And I think I've shown this in maybe 2 podcasts ago, episode 20 podcast. I only got, and I know I've got new subscribers since, so I'll show you this. If you haven't watched back issues, you don't have to. I've only got one of this Be Creative fingerless mitten done. So this is a hoe. So I need to, oh my gosh, my hands are sweaty. I think last time I showed you this, I was actually in my craft room in the house in the middle of a heat wave, and I had sweaty hands then. Anyway, got it on. I think it's twisted. But anyway, so that's the fingerless mitten. Getting a theme going here, girls and boys. If there's any menfolk watching, like bees. 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 Okay, stop torn. Okay, I'm sorry. I still have to knit the second one of this. This is in my own colourway, not in the shop. These were just, I hand dyed them just for fun. I'll give you a close up if you want to see. So I have to knit the second one of these. So this is a hoe. Whoopsie, but I thought I'd bring it and show you anyway, because some of you have not seen this one before. But then, so talking about my frozen shoulder, I'm not comfortable. Talking about my frozen shoulder earlier on, some of you, this is a real blast from the past. I have got, it's not even a hoe, it's almost an FO. I need to finish these babies off. These are the Light Snow Angel mittens by Arty Sanitarium Design. And these were gifted to me by my lovely friend Nikki. Actually, you know what? I think Karen knitted a pair of these. So as you can see, there's the angel in the middle. The reason I'm bringing these to show you is I have to finish them off. Yes, they're not a finished object. No, they're not. I was almost on the home stretch because you do, it's like an afterthought thumb, if that's even a thing. This is when I started with the frozen shoulder. And I think this might be the straw that broke the camel's back, because it's really, I did it still in the magic loop. And it was really, really tight knitting. And I think that's what did it. And so after that, I just put them aside. Look, this is all I've got left to do. I just need to add a thumb in. I went wrong on that one, but anyway, doesn't matter. So I thought I'm going to bring them and show you, because some of you wouldn't have seen these. And hopefully I'll turn these into a finished object. And then I've got at least one pair of mittens for the colder weather coming, and hopefully fingerless mittens, and I've got my bee shawl done. So I'll be all swanky, won't I, for winter. I think these mittens will be great on the bike. So yeah, I thought I'd show them to you, just mainly to sort of give myself a push in the right direction. Okay, I can talk about some incoming things. How are we doing for time? I'm waffling. Let's talk about the Stephen and Penelope shop that I went to. I hadn't planned to go there. It was more a case of, I'm in Amsterdam anyway, doing other things, namely fabric shopping, and having a day out. We had a lovely lunch and we walked and walked. I think that day we did 14,000 steps just wandering around Amsterdam. It was lovely, great weather. Anyway, I digress. Hadn't planned to go in the Stephen and Penelope shop, but I thought, well, I'm there anyway. I had sort of almost made my way to that end of town. If you're interested in going, it's just, if you're in Dam Square and the palace is behind you, you're on the square, the palace is behind you, just keep walking. You go over 2 canals and they're just there on the left. So not that far off the sort of tourist trail if you're ever in the vicinity. So I bought some Eucalyptus, just a small bottle. I don't even know how big it is, in lavender. The lady who helped me, I'm sorry I didn't get her name now. She was so lovely. There was a guy in there as well also helping. He was also really, really sweet. And poor Lawrence was stood outside. He said, I'm not going in a yarn shop. And you have to wear masks at the moment in there, which is not mandatory in Holland, but shops can still say. And, you know, obviously I took a mask with me. And he said, no, I don't want to wear a mask. You know, it's a hot day. And he already has lung problems. So he struggled with the mask all the way through. Anyway, waffle. So I hadn't planned going in. So I didn't want to, I hadn't gone in with a list of things I wanted to buy. I needed the Eucalyptus, so I was thrilled to have that. If you're interested in knowing, their bestseller is jasmine fragrance, and they were sold out. So you heard it there from me first, ladies and gents. What I did buy is, this is a DK wool, and there's two reasons that I went for it. Firstly, I thought, well, DK, I could knit something nice for winter, maybe a cowl or a hat or something, or mittens. I bought two skeins of this. It's the West Wool Tandem. But one of the reasons that attracted me is it's 10% of this. It's 90% Falkland Merino and 10% Tessel wool. So I was like, oh, I have to have that. This is in Berry, the shade, and yeah, this was €20 in the shop. So that's Berry. I don't know if it's showing up on camera. I think it might be a little bit darker in real life. I think that's showing up a little bit more crimson, and it is more like a berry red. It's like a very rich darker red. And then the other one I bought is grass green, from the same one, the Tandem. I don't know if that's showing up a bit. Jady blue. This, yeah, it's really like a real bright, solid green. They're beautiful. So I treated myself to these two. And I don't think €20 skeins too bad, really. I mean, they're DK, so, you know, obviously they don't stretch as far. This is 100 gram, you get 250 yards or 230 meters. So yeah, I thought, and I've got other DK in my own. Actually, I've got some DK. I've got some DK from Tessel that I could hand dye. I could hand dye myself some. I might do that. Watch this space. And then the other thing is, Undercover Otter is also a Dutch dyer, and I hadn't planned to buy anything. It was just more to go in and film and have a wander around. But minis are really hard to come by in the Netherlands. Obviously, Undercover Otter, she has more of an international following, and she gets it that, you know, we like our minis, don't we, ladies and gents? So there was a rack of minis hung up. So I thought, you know what, I'll pick up a couple of minis. They're always handy to have in your stash. So this one is in the minis they were $6.50, and they're called Otter Pups, the minis, because they're little. This one's in Scumbot. It's nice shades of turquoise and teals and dyed. And this one is called Wicked Little Things. If you're not familiar with her, she also does a lot of like neons, and I think she had quite a display in the shop. Her and Stephen West are friends, and I think he uses some of her like neons and bright colours in his shawls. You know, especially like his honeycomb ones in the background. So I think that's why she features quite heavily in the shop. So yeah, I thought I'd just buy. I'm interested. You know, some of you will know I'm really... the hand dyeing I did for myself, I've now started doing it in very small batches for my Etsy shop, and I'm fascinated with the process. So yeah, that's what I bought from Stephen and Penelope. The other thing I bought, well, okay, so this is an incoming. I didn't buy this. I asked if my mum and one of my sisters, Estelle, would kindly keep a lookout for the Lunar Lapin book. I've finally given in to the fad. I'm really, really late to that party. But what prompted me to really want it was Ellie from Craft House Magic, who, yes, I'm a fan. She recently shown the Lunar's coat she made, and I saw it. And many of you will know, I actually have an old, really old, beat up doll's house. It's a 1/12 scale doll's house. And so I'm obsessed with miniature things. You know, I make and paint a lot of things for the doll's house. When I saw this coat, you know, my little miniature heart sort of, you know, started pounding very fastly. So got on the app and asked my sister, if you're in the works and it's on offer, my tummy's rumbling. Please, please, will you grab me a copy? So this arrived in the post from my mummy, which is the Making Lunar Lapin book. Isn't she lovely? So I asked for this a while ago. It took a fair while to come. When I was in Texel, Texel, if you don't know, Texel's got its own breed of sheep. So amongst other things, you can buy yarn, and there's a beautiful shop on Texel called De Wit Engel, which is the White Angel. I'll put a link to her web shop below. If you want to buy felt, she actually supplies a lot of sort of famous felty people with their for kits and things. So I treated myself to felt from De Wit Engel. I think that's in vlog 173 if you want to have a nosy in there. I did film a little bit around the shop, and I bought some yarn from there. Anyway, it is from the Texel breed. It's not the cheapest of felt, so I didn't want to waste it. So I thought, let me just do a prototype first, because, you know, I've asked a few of my friends in fact, most of my friends have made Lunar. Most of my friends who sew, that is. So I asked around. I got a lot of different advice from everybody. Some of you guys watching also gave me advice. And I thought, let me just do a prototype for her head to see what sort of method I fancy. And I'm really glad I did that, because I've changed my mind on the way I was going to do it. So anyway, well, I'll show you. First of all, that's Lunar in her naked glory. So as you see, she has contrasting foot pads and ears. And I'll show you, yeah, a couple of her dressed in all her finest. So here she is wearing a lace cardigan. It's not knitted, it's actually cut out from fabric. She has shoes, boots, she has pajamas, a nightie, a dress. She comes with all kinds of accessories. The other thing, I'm not sure I'll make this, but I just thought it was very, very cute. She also has her own armchair. How gorgeous is that? I love that dress. I might make that dress for her. So all the patterns are in the back, everything you need. There's quite a lot of, not from, the author is Sarah Peel, but not from her, but I saw there's quite a lot of tutorials on YouTube as well. I've done my research, guys and gals. So here is the prototype in very, very cheap craft felt that I've had for years in my stash, because I have made felt ornaments, gosh, for years. I mean, and going back years. And some scraps of fabric, because I was toying with the idea of doing a completely hand stitched or machine stitched, or a combination of both. I wasn't decided. So here's the prototype of a little head. I won't finish, I won't make her a whole Lunar. So I have hand stitched all of this. What I'm not keen on is, I don't like how her ears have come out. So I was thinking, this is the method that comes in the book. I'll do that, that's fine. But I might actually blanket stitch. I like doing a blanket stitch in like embroidery floss around her ears in the real one I make. I hand stitched this, but I did it inside out. I think if I do the inside out method, I'm going to cut her head a lot bigger. Or I'm still playing with hand stitching her, but stitching her from the outside, if that makes sense. So, but I thought that was really, it was a very worthwhile exercise doing. Yeah, so there's a rabbit's head. I haven't brought the felt that I bought, but I have got these. This is the fabric I've chosen for, and the other thing is, it tells you to use interface in the ears, The felt that I've got from Tessel is a bit thicker than this. I'm not going to interface her ears at all. I think that would just be way too much. So here's the fabric. I have chosen to line her ears and go on the bottom of her feet, and she's going to be grey, but like a mild grey. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I'm looking forward to getting back into hand stitching. I tend to do that more when it's cooler weather. Okay, so when I was in Amsterdam, I went to the Apatite market. I gave a quick glimpse of this in the vlog, but I promised I would show more on the podcast. So I'll show you the fabric I bought, which some of it will be for hand stitching and some of it will be for project bags. So this was just a remnant. It's all cotton. Thought that was quite a cute, cheap and cheerful little remnant, and it reminded me of a tulip. I think that would look nice with English paper piecing. Again, this was a remnant, but it was quite cheap. I'm not opening it. It's quite big. I think I could get nice. I bought it for EPP or patchwork, but actually I could use this. This would make lining for project bags. There's for a couple. So isn't that really pretty? Beautiful, nice quality. Then I bought 3 meters of, this is all cotton, like poplin polka dots, all beautiful. I don't know if that's making the camera go a bit funny. So I've got this nice blue, and then the yellow and red. I haven't got a favourite with them. So these are all mainly project bag liners. Okay, then I saw this and my heart just skipped a beat. So I bought 2 meters of this. I'm going to be making quite a few project bags from this. I'm going to open it up so you can see. I'm going to hide my face, bear with me. Isn't that lovely? This is like it's a quite thick, it's like a linen cotton. I'll show you. It's quite a thick fabric. So when I saw that, I thought, I'm just, you know what, I was just in the market for like, oh, half a metre, not half, because it was just patchworky stuff, you know, scrappy kind of things. And I saw this, I grabbed it. I mean, wouldn't that make, look at that, with like red polka dot lining or yellow polka dot lining. And I think the blue goat is my favourite with it. So I can't wait to start stitching. It's a bit too hot at the moment to sit at the sewing machine, but yeah. And then the other thing, this wasn't from the Apatite market, but this was from Søstrene Groen, which is I think it's a Danish. It's a little bit like Flying Tiger kind of shop, but they have really lovely, very Scandi design and quite reasonably priced. I buy it online from them a lot, but if I'm ever in Amsterdam and it's not far off Dam Square, little tip for you, pop in. It's quite a big size one there. So I bought this little, it reminded me of Liberty, the style of it. So again, just for, you know, doing EPP. You can buy these online. It's 45 by 55 centimetre if you're almost a fat quarter. So they do, it's worth checking if you're a sewer. They do yarn, they do knitting needles, they do sewing notions, everything. And I don't find them expensive at all. So 2 things to talk to you about. One, I'm not doing a shop update, but I will just tell you something about the shop. I've now opened up shipping to across the Benelux. So if you're in the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, I think, and I've opened it up to Germany, Austria and France. So those 6 countries are in my shipping list. If you're outside of the EU, shipping is still a bit pricey. It's worked out, I don't know, about I think about €12 to post to the UK. So for a skein of yarn, that's just ridiculous. However, if you wanted to bundle things up, I think there's a flat shipping rate for under 300 grams. So if you see something in the Etsy, you can always reach out to me. You can send an Etsy message or my email's below. And you know, I do realise that some people are like, oh, I don't care about the postage, I just want something. Because I do that sometimes, you know, just see something in my, you know, I'm like totally in love with something. And then I'm there, you know, I'm prepared to pay. So if you are, just reach out to me. I'm always happy to go online to the Dutch postal system and get a quote for you, you know. So, and under no obligation if you want to buy something or not, you know. Personally, I think 10, €12 for a skein of yarn for postage is like ridiculous. But anyway, I do appreciate, you know, I've spent like ridiculous amounts on craft things when I've really, really wanted something. So the only thing to mention now is, some of you will probably know that Jeanette, who's Crafty Clay Creations, and myself, we run mounds together. We're on our third one now. It's an Instagram make along, and it's open to if you crochet or knit anything yarn related. So technically I think felting might fall under that category because that is wool from sheep, isn't it really? And the mal is Enchanted Forest Mal 21, and that's running until the end of September. So you've still got bags of time to enter anything you like. If you convince Jeanette and I that it belongs in an enchanted forest, then what the heck. Jeanette recently made a rainbow jellyfish for her enchanted forest. So we've had mermaids in the enchanted forest, we've had unicorns, dragons, loads of toadstools. You know, as you can imagine, it's magical. If you're on Instagram and you don't want to enter, just check out the hashtag anyway and have a look what everyone's been making. It's so much fun. And obviously we're going into, people are starting to do their autumn makes now. So, you know, if you fancy making a pumpkin, pumpkins can live in enchanted forests. So, you know, enter, and you know, the more you enter, you know, the merrier for us. There are prizes. Jeanette is making like a goodie bag. I will make a goodie bag. Lindsay from Stitch Create Love has donated one of her beautiful stitch marker necklaces. It's gorgeous. And Bert, who's from Vinyl Creations, is donating a clock for your craft room, a crafty themed clock, really super cool. And he's also, while the mal's running, he's also offering 10% discount on his like laser engraved bamboo crochet hook set. It's a whole set, and you can have anything you want put on it. I forgot to bring mine today. I've got my logo, Dawn's Days, and my little bee logo etched onto my bamboo handles, and they're beautiful and they're super light to use, really lightweight. Okay, guys and gals, I think I'm at the end of my waffling. I think we've probably notched up an hour. Don't forget, following this, I'll insert the footage of the Stephen and Penelope shop, and you know, if hopefully one day, you know, you're lucky enough to pop in there yourself, please make sure you make a list, because when you get in there, you're like a kid in a sweet shop and you can go a bit bonkers. That's my top tip to you. Stay safe. Thanks again for tuning in and, you know, spending some of your precious time sitting down with me and listening to me waffling. I hope you enjoyed seeing the things that I've finished or I'm working on. And I read and check, read and comment back to every single comment below. So if you want to give me a little wave and let me know what you're up to at the moment, or what you've watched of mine and you enjoyed, or if you've got any tips, suggestions, or you want to talk amongst yourselves, feel free. I will see you in the next podcast or vlog. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.